So I started with graffiti in 1983 in West LA. I was a young guy who saw this beautiful painting by the graffiti writer Rival from WCA, and I was enamored by it. And then literally 2 weeks later, I saw a film called Style Wars. I watched that video on PBS and I realized that these kids were onto something. And then I picked up a book called Subway Art, and that got me really started. So I started painting graffiti and I didn't know what I was doing. And then I started running into other graffiti writers in my neighborhood on the west side. A lot of these guys were like from WCA or KSN, truly pioneers. Because there was no playbook. A lot of them were pulling art, design work, like they were coming up with their own style, but it was influenced by New York. So then I did that for many, many years. In the 90s, there was the Dark Ages, which was the tag bangers. And that ruined everything for people like me who had no interest in being in a gang. Then around 2003, I started seeing a lot of stencil work on the streets of LA. I was really enamored by it, and I was taken by it because it was different than graffiti. It was like a hyper form of graffiti. It was expressionism in the sense that there was a lot of communication going on. I had always seen a lot of wheat pasting work, so I started doing my own retro 80s joysticks everywhere, and the joysticks caught on because I would remix them with, like, I'm a Cold War kid, so I love things like the Van Halen design, various different iterations of the 80s, right? And so I started putting the joystick up everywhere using wheat paste with my own formula that I made, and then that caught on, and then I started getting up with other street artists that didn't have a graffiti background. So the difference between me and them was I had the graffiti background, so I knew the rules of what you can and can't do. Street artists, they don't know the rules, so they would like make mistakes and upset a lot of the graffiti writers. So a lot of times I was in the middle of that. So I started to paint with, like, Scepterhead, who's a dear friend who he and I did a lot of work together. There was a lot of different guys. And that was the time back then because there was a lot of publicity around it. So the name Destroy All Design, I wanted to come up with a name that rolled really nicely. And the name Destroy All Design just rolled really nicely. Part of it was like, I've always held this philosophy, this nihilistic philosophy, that in order for you to become a better version of yourself, you have to destroy the older versions of yourself. It's a visceral name. It definitely channels the graffiti, like, there is nothing in your way. You have to destroy everything that gets in your way to get that mission done. I mean, I went through a lot of other names, but that was the one that stuck. When it comes to deciding what type of imagery I want to use, the joystick's always been part of it. But also, I love retro things. So I'll pull from video games, I'll pull from something political out there, just something that speaks to me, right? So I've done a Care Bear that You know, I did a Care Bear with a joystick for the heart. I've done characters from the Atari pantheon of video games, such as like Berserk or Pac-Man or whatnot. I'll take those images and I'll rework them into street art pieces and with a message. Because the thing about a lot of the images that I use, they come from a time when people needed to be soothed because we had a threat of nuclear warfare, you had the AIDS epidemic, you had all these things, and video games were a way to escape all those things. So I pull a lot of imagery from those moments, and for some reason, those things really caught on. Like, I did not intend to be in galleries, but when I did a lot of these images, people just wanted them because it spoke to them. One of the last sets of pieces that I did were based around Orwell, George Orwell. I did a whole like pig series where the pigs rule society, and that was very popular. Another one was I did the 1% riot police, the skeletal riot police, which a lot of people wanted that piece because it represented the 1% and the enforcement of the 1%. So it's like, again, if it comes to me and it speaks to me, I'll make it. And I've been very fortunate and lucky that I don't hold on to any art. A lot of the art just goes. People buy it or I give it away or whatnot. Like, people want it. So that's always nice. Post-COVID, the art in Los Angeles has become far more visceral and much more agitated. If you drive down the 5 freeway or the 10 freeway right now, it is bombed to absolute, like, the zero. Like, there's so much art right now coming out from some of the best graffiti writers out there. Street art has kind of quieted down. You don't see a lot of stencil work. I don't frankly know why that's happened. Like, the messaging has calmed down in the street art world. I think people are very upset with the political climate right now. I mean, this is people's sentiment. So there's a lot of political messaging going on in graffiti. And I like that. I think that that's important because it actually bridges the gap between what a typical person cannot necessarily read a graffiti piece, but they certainly can read a sentiment that's been written into it. Street art in general in America, in Los Angeles and in the streets of America, is all about that. It's about the message first versus the graffiti, which is the graffiti world is about getting your name up before the message. If you look around the world right now, there's a lot of messaging going on, but it's very visceral in the United States. Like, We've never been divided more as a country, and it's coming out in the artwork, it's coming out in the voices. It's no longer the voice of the ghetto, if you will. It's like the voice of the streets right now. As long as there's somebody who has something to say, there's always going to be a moment for someone to, scribe, paint, pencil in what they have to say. Look, it's art. You gotta put it somewhere, right? You gotta have somewhere to put your expression. Otherwise, then what's the point of living?